Let's first start off, and thank you, Joe, for joining us. First off, let's just put it out to the voters. Let's assume somebody has never heard of you. What do you stand for, and what makes you the best candidate as the trying to win the Republican nomination for Senate in the state of New Jersey?
Well, I think I'm offering a clear promise and vision of where we are, where we should be going, and how we should be getting there. If you go onto my website at jerseyjoe08.com, it's detailed very specifically. We talk about lowering taxes. We talk about securing our borders. We talk about opening up health care by getting rid of those state borders and allowing us to buy health insurance across state borders to decrease the prices. But probably the cornerstone of my campaign is just ridding ourselves of our dependency on foreign oil, which is literally choking our economy and sending our young men and women off in foreign places to die for, quote, that vital interest.
Now, obviously, you have a lot of experience as far as the state of New Jersey and knowing what knowing what the voters are really looking for. As far as there's a lot of state issues here that I think we can both agree on, and also the fact that there's stuff that I think people are worried about nationally. You talked about gas prices, the economy in general, but obviously that translates in the states. So I think you can I would assume that you would probably have a very easy way to have good dialogue with the voters. When you talk to the voters, what have they been telling you? What have you been hearing from them? What's the most important, what's the most couple important things coming into this primary and eventually for the open Senate seat or possible open Senate seat?
Well, I've been labeled an average Joe. My moniker on one of my commercials was Jersey Joe, but most people call me just Joe. I'm an average Joe because I can empathize with people. I grew up the son of immigrants, so I have a life story to tell. Things didn't come easy to me, but thank God, through hard work, I managed to educate myself, become a professional, and then I want to give something back by becoming an elected official. The cornerstone of that campaign, my campaign, is energy independence, because you can make a point that all the major issues that we're facing right now, that is whether it's the economy maybe heading towards a recession, whether it's the Iraq involvement, whether it's our overextended worldwide in order to protect these vital interests, whether it's gas that's approaching $4 a gallon, all of that is because of our dependency on foreign oil. An example is our country's headed towards a recession, so Congress got together on a bipartisan fashion to craft out $150 billion stimulus in order to get the economy going. Well, those checks haven't even arrived yet. That was done when oil was $92 a barrel. Oil is $130 a barrel now. So our destiny is being controlled by people that are nefarious characters, people that want to do us harm, whether they're in Iran, whether they're in Venezuela. We've got to rid ourselves of that dependency. We have to be able to start to control our own destiny.
And Joe Pennacchio joining us, Coastal Broadcasting News. Thanks for giving us a couple of minutes. Also, you talk about the gas prices, and obviously that also translates a little bit into foreign policy, what's going on in Iraq. When we were at the Senate debate covering that last week at Stockton College, that was one of the topics that was brought up. What is your general viewpoint on what the United States should do? Listen, we can rehash the past as much as we want, whether it was a good idea to go into Iraq or not. But ultimately, we're there now. What is ultimately the next best step? What should the United States look to do? Timetable, or is it just stay in until you get the job done? What's your general feelings on what needs to be done in Iraq and foreign policy in general?
Well, I've always said that the Iraqis have to step up. Our commitment in blood and treasure is not and should not be open-ended. You can make an argument that, quote, we won the war. You can make an argument that we're winning the surge. But unless the Iraqis themselves, Dennis, they come to a political settlement to divide their wealth as far as oil, to put aside their sectarian differences, to militarily police themselves, to actually politically police themselves, unless they manage to do all of that, then no matter what we do, it's not going to be sustainable. So they have to step up to the plate. Secondly, the neighboring friends have to step up to the plate. The Saudis, the Kuwaitis, the Jordanians, the Egyptians. It is in their best interest that there is a peaceful, stable, democratic Iraq that exists there. That way it can do people no harm. So unless we see that, we can't pull out, but certainly we can pull back and we can start putting our troops out of harm's way.
And when I was at the Senate debate last week, one thing that I just noticed, and not putting a bias in either way, it seemed that Murray Sabrin was more on the attack. Dick Zimmer seemed to be more of the, just just talk about what he's doing. When I talked to Sabrin after the debate, one of the things that he mentioned about you was that he claimed that you had writings that were almost a fascist kind of thought in the past, and said some very harsh things about you. He also had obviously some attacks for Zimmer. I'm not saying you have to attack them or deal with the comments or anything like that, but what separates you from the other two guys? Because we gave them a chance to talk about what separates them from the people that are running. What separates you from Zimmer and Sabrin? What makes you a different candidate? What makes you special? What's different about you from them?
Well, first of all, in regards to Mr. Sabrin, he's always been a 4 or 5% candidate. He's done it in the past. In the past, he's had people like Hal Turner, who are white supremacists, who are really nasty people as campaign managers. So somebody taught him very, very well. That's the reason that he only gets 4 or 5% in the race. So we discount him. The Bergen Record, which is his home county paper, called him a loose cannon. So we don't answer him because, quite frankly, I don't want to waste my breath on him. As far as Dick goes, Dick is a nice man, but he soiled himself by involving himself in a process that, quite frankly, he shouldn't have. We don't anoint candidates. We put our names in front of the people. I got my signatures by asking people to sign a petition, by knocking on doors, by making phone calls. Dick didn't do that. Dick was basically given the position after a number of people have dropped out. Now, the questions that we're asking Dick, they're hard questions, but quite frankly, they should have been answered months and months ago. We're calling him out on taking a farm assessment credit, all the while working as a Washington lobbyist, having an address and working in Washington. And yet he managed to pay only $169 for 23 acres of his estate. Now, quite frankly, we don't think that's right. We think it's a distortion of the law. We think it's an abuse. The Sierra Club called it, quote, a tax dodge. Now, it's unfortunate that we have to be talking about this now, but because of the circumstances in which Mr. Zimmer appeared in the race at the very end, just being anointed by some, quote, party leaders, these questions have to be answered. They should have been vented out a long time ago. So if if the kitchen's getting a little bit hot for certain candidates, then they may want to consider getting out of the kitchen.